And welcome back to Fresno, California for race for 8, stop number 4 and qualifier bracket number 2. It's Luis Cordova now serving at 0-0 versus legend Anton Wilson. Here's the opening serve, Dave.
I've been looking forward to this matchup, Dave, since I saw the qualifiers entered before the draw even came out, Dave. I knew these two would be squaring off as the number 2 and number 7 seeds, respectively.
Well, this is a really interesting matchup because Anton Wilson has dropped about 30 pounds and he looks really good, almost the same weight that he had back when he qualified originally in the late 90s.
The big question mark in this match, Dave, is can Anton hang with Luis? Conditioning. Luis Cordova plays a very physical brand of handball, Dave. He makes a lot of gets. He pushes his opponents around the court, and he's got that devastating right hand. Now, Luis Cordova's biggest weakness, Dave, is his serve. And you see it right there, bringing that serve around the back wall. He has not yet fixed that weakness in his game. Thus far, Dave, he's served 3 serves. Each one has come off the back wall. Anton, Dave, is one of the great back wall shooters in the history of this game with either hand. If Luis, Dave, continues to put himself on that defensive with those weak back wall setup serves, this could be a short afternoon for Cordova fans.
1-0.
Score here is 1-0.
Anton Davis always so relaxed. He makes it look so easy. He's got that effortless, easy power.
2-0.
Luis Cordova, Dave, I believe playing the best handball of his life in Tucson just about 7 weeks ago. Defeated Tommy Little in a tiebreaker, but won those second and third games very easily. Then took a game off Nadi Alvarado Jr., our number 2 ranked pro. You don't see Nadi dropping a lot of games.
Hold it.
Not a good call there from our referee, but it was Luis winning game number 1 against Nadi Jr. and really had Nadi on the ropes there before Nadi found his game late in that match. And then it was Luis Cordova taking out the Minnesota Dreamboat Andy Nett in the playoffs, eventually finishing 6th at that Tucson Pro Stop.
You were talking about that smooth power from Anton Wilson. I kind of put it right up there with that Luis Moreno sort of style of game, but maybe a 35-year-old version. And if Luis were to leave the game for about 8 years and try to come back, he has a kind of that smoothness. Now, you remember Anton from the old days of the Pro Tour and can recall that smoothness, and I'm sure you've played against him previously.
That's true. We started playing each other when we were 15.
You see how relaxed Anton Wilson is with that shot right there with his left hand.
He's always had this beautiful style. With Anton, it was always a question of how much did he want it. There were some weeks he would show up, Dave, and just seemed like he didn't want to be there. There were other weeks he'd show up and beat guys like Dave Chapman. I'd like to see Luis pushing Anton around, particularly early in this game. Easier said than done. Moving Anton from side to side, trying to wear out those 35-year-old lack of play legs.
It's a beautiful shot right there from Anton Wilson, and I agree with you.
Almost play that Armijo style, Dave, early in this match, retrieving and pushing Anton from side to side. Luis Cordova looks like he's in survival mode, though, right now, just trying to get the ball back. Doesn't seem like he has much thought in what he's doing. And Anton can flick that ball to the ceiling at will, Dave, with either hand.
These players play all bad bounces. Anton had a setup that bounced strangely earlier.
This is an ugly rally here, Dave. Both guys have had easy opportunities to end this rally. And that's the shot Luis has to go for, Dave. He's had that opportunity a couple times early in this first game and took that shot back to the ceiling. Needs to drive the ball down the walls. And that's a terrible miss hit there from Luis Cordova. We talk about this a lot, Dave. Luis Cordova plays a lot of two-wall handball in Mexico, where he lives. Lives in Juarez. Plays with all different sorts of balls there, Dave. Tennis balls without the fuzz, tennis balls with the fuzz, racket balls, handballs, pelota balls. Says he doesn't have an opportunity to play that much four-wall. Let's not forget, though, Dave, it was Luis's younger brother, Daniel, advancing to the final of the boys 19 and under junior nationals just last weekend before coming up short against the Irish.
Point. 1 serving 4.
Score is 1-4 here. We play 1-25, win by 2. Cordova representing the Salt Lake City Aces.
I agree with Luis here. He was clearly obstructed, Dave. He had his hand on the ball. There was, I think, a hinder and a screen. Now, obviously, he couldn't have done much with this, Dave, but clearly there's contact, there's a screen. The ball's crossing Anton's body.
In fact, besides having that, the fan's head in the way, that could be used as a example of what a screen is if you're going to make a video of such.
I would use it even with the head in the way.
I was just kind of hoping that maybe he'd take a shower and style that hair before sticking it in our camera. I mean,
not everybody packs 6 cans of mousse and hairspray on a trip like you do, Dave.
Here's the setup here. Nope. One of the things about Anton Wilson is that you cannot pepper balls to his left hand and think that he's going to make hand errors, because he's got one of the smoothest lefts out there.
2 serving 4.
Well, he's always had that great timing. You mentioned, Dave, that Anton hasn't played a pro singles match since 2003, but he's been pretty active in the pro doubles scene. Played in a couple of U.S. Opens, Dave, with his partner, Jason Coronado.
4 serving 2.
If you can hit a reverse on this court, Dave, down the left, very difficult serve to deal with. Even a natural into that wall is a great serve.
There's some strange glares out there, and also the fans are sitting right up against that glass. You have a lot to contend with when you're trying to hit a ball, especially that reverse that slides.
Anton takes the revolving door but doesn't put it down.
It seems early on that Anton's content with engaging in rallies, playing mostly in the deep court.
Well, you notice, Dave, that Anton plays very far back. He does not play up around that restraining line or around the short line as you see most guys. You see Sean Lenning will never move away from that short line. Same with Luis Moreno, but Anton actually camps out near the back wall.
And he's calling a timeout here. Anton Wilson calling timeout number 1. You're watching the Race for 8, sponsored by Simple Green and the World Players of Handball. We're in Fresno, California. This is bracket number 2, the Frank Zaniga bracket. Frank, longtime player here in Fresno, one of the old-time champions and legends of the game, and we are honoring him today with this bracket featuring Anton Wilson and Luis Cordova. Luis from Juarez, Mexico.
Congratulations to Frank.
Luis is one of the star athletes in Frank's bracket, and so is local hometown, homegrown favorite Anton Wilson, who at a pretty young age, still in his 20s, decided to work on his family and not on his handball game. And now he says that I want to support the cause and I love what you guys are doing. That's why I'm playing in this event. And he said that he came down and actually trained for it and lost a little bit of weight. He looks really good, actually.
Good break there from Anton as he's just scooping that ball up with a big reverse on it. And the ball finds that deep left corner, and Luis had no play on it.
do you think about that serve right there?
Well, it looked like it was going to come out pretty short, and Luis would have a big swing on it. I don't know if the ball slid or just bounced a little bit deeper than I had anticipated, but once again, it's Luis handcuffed in that back left corner.
Score here is 8-2. And then
Nice
Anton,
serve here for Anton.
Look at that smooth left hand from Anton Wilson.
Well, you see Anton take that shuffle sidestep into that ball, Dave. Really sat down there, stayed down on that shot, drilled the cross-court kill shot.
I know it's early here, Dave, but we've seen Anton display at least 6 different serves already. Even after he gets a point on an ace, he goes to something different. That could either help you or it could hurt you, but it looks like it's helping him here.
And Anton now just completely dominating the action here. It looked like it was Luis Cordova making a move. Anton calling a timeout at 6-2. Seemed like he might have been a little bit winded there, Dave, but if Anton can coast into this halftime with a substantial lead and 2 timeouts remaining, you have to think he's the huge favorite to advance.
I expect to see Anton take all of his timeouts, and there's another one of those free points in the back corner.
That's 3 of the last 4 points, Dave, have been balls that just died in that left corner. Luis Cordova unable to bring them back into the court.
Now, last night when we got into the facility, the first player I saw on this court was Luis Cordova sparring with Vic Perez, and Vic was beating him 11-1 when they closed down the club. Now, Vic did it on that serve right there. He was sending balls in the back corner. It was something visual with Cordova. He was unable to either pick it up or track it properly. And that's not a mysterious serve. It's one we see all the time, but every court is different, Dave.
Well, Luis Cordova's biggest weakness, Dave, is that left hand. As strong as his right hand is as weak as his left hand is. And a lot of that traces back to that 2-wall game that he plays in Mexico, where he really doesn't use his left. And if he does, it's just a stiff arm left. So he's never developed that sidearm left hand swing or that overhand left swing, and you see these top pros exploiting that hole in his swing, and that's what Anton's done here. He's scored 5 of his last 6 points on balls that Luis Cordova just has not returned in that back left corner.
Now this would be an upset on paper because Luis Cordova is already named to one of the Race for 8 teams, and he's been traveling to all the pro stops, but here locally, this is what these guys are predicting is this early lead. Now, I know it's not over with, and I'm also saying that this could be a close one. Whether Anton wins or loses this, we're going to see both of the players in the 20s.
Second serve.
I believe. But Anton looks so smooth and just collected in here,
Broken
Dave.
ball.
And that's the first broken ball of the tournament.
Now, we vowed to not talk about our office pools anymore, Dave, but
Oh, you know what?
if Anton wins this, I've busted out of our office poll. I
Lewis,
had
this
Andy
yours?
Net. I know you had Carlos
This one, game ball?
Chavez in that top bracket, so if I can't get Luis Cordova coming through here, Dave,
there you
it's
go.
pretty much over, and we're headed to where did you say tonight for your dinner?
I don't like to talk about food
Okay.
on the,
Okay,
on
replay
the
that
live
point.
broadcast anymore.
11 serving 2.
They know I'm coming if I say that.
Check the ball.
Anton not giving much room there, Dave. I don't know if we could have one of the head
11-32.
officials come in and determine whether that's an avoidable or not.
Wow.
It's one of those balls, Dave, that bounced into that right side wall. Anton wasn't expecting it to. He backed
12
up,
serving 2.
but took away the entire court.
That's called gamesmanship. He almost tried to do it again. Look
And
at
that's
that
a
power.
smart shot from Anton.
Anton thought about flying that. Just takes too much energy. Instead, he says, I'll just pin Luis behind me here and take my left hand down that left wall.
And let's not forget the intimidation factor here for Luis
13
Cordova. Luis
serving
Cordova
2.
grew up idolizing guys like Anton Wilson, has never seen Anton Wilson. And now he's in here. And Dave, you know how hard it can be to
Check the ball.
play a guy that you've heard so much about, you've seen very briefly, and now he's in here just being dominated.
Cordova was about 12 or 11 last time Anton entered a pro stop. That ball hit Anton in the foot, but that should be a point, and it is. Now at 14-2.
14 serving 2.
One more away from halftime, which I believe will give Luis his serve. And there it is.
All right. You guys got 3 minutes.
Luis actually shaking hands. We haven't seen that before, Dave, shaking hands going into the halftime. But that was an amazing serve from Anton. He scored so many of his points in that left corner and with that left reverse power serve. But that time he slid one down the right wall, and Luis Cordova leaning left never really recovered. Here's a good look at it.
This replay brought to you by Simple Green, the leader in environmentally friendly products. Find them at your local retail outlet. And there's that. Boy, I mean, if that's the serve that you can get Luis Cordova on, I'll go in and start practicing that today. It seems like it's so easy to do. But I think Luis is just kind of coming unraveled now. This halftime was created to give that the player who's losing maybe, hopefully, an advantage to come back in and break the momentum. And for those that are watching Luis Cordova, his camp back home, neither El Paso, Texas or Mexico, are certainly hoping that he does break that momentum with this halftime.
Well, he's dug himself in a very deep hole here, Dave. He's going to need a ladder to come out of it, because Anton needing only 10 points to qualify here. And obviously, Dave, we're both pretty good at math. It's going to be Luis Cordova needing 23 points to Anton's 10. And obviously, he's been outscored 15-2 thus far, so the percentages are not in his favor, but we've seen crazier things happen. Jean Casimoto furiously looking up large comebacks. She actually has a database, Dave. She just types that in, and it pops up. So we'll be awaiting the results of that. I don't believe, Dave, that we've ever seen a comeback from 15-2 or greater in a 25-point game.
We haven't yet, but we have seen many that have been close and exciting. A lot of comebacks, though, after we instituted halftime, just none that have shown those that are coming back to actually go on to take the match.
Well, let's not forget, Dave, it will be Anton serving here. Even though he scored the 15th point, Luis Cordova started the match serving. So Anton maintains the serve.
You're watching the Simple Green WPH Race for 8 live at racefor8.com. This is part of the series that allows the players to gain points and then get inducted into the Player Championship after the last race stop, which will be in Southern California in March.
Should Luis Cordova go on to lose this match, Dave, we would have our top 2 seeds knocked out of the qualifier. The top 2 seeds have qualified in each stop thus far that we've held when we initiated this top 12 format.
All right. Score is 15, serving 2.
Beautiful shot from Anton. Takes so much strength, Dave, to hit the open stance, open shoulder, left hand fly kill. And that's what Anton did there. Great shot.
Wow.
And everything is feeding off Anton's serve right now. Luis just unable to move Anton out of that front court or keep the ball off the back wall. As you know, Dave, that's a recipe for disaster in a very short outing.
Well, let's just face it, Dave. Anton Wilson knows how to play the game of handball. Doesn't matter how many years he's taken off. Now, we don't know how he's going to play if he does go on to defeat Cordova, and it looks like he might. We don't know how he's going to play against somebody who can serve
17.
like a Luis Moreno or a Charlie Shanks.
Now, let's not put that cart before the horse just yet. We do have a match here to 25. I may start thinking about Anton's chances should he get to 22 or 23.
Okay. Well, you said earlier the first to 21 wins. I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay.
Anton, though, has not really exerted himself much. Even if Cordova were to go on to get 10 more points from this moment on, you're really not seeing Anton put much energy into this, and that's how he's sort of based his career.
Well, let's not forget Anton had pretty much just a walkthrough this morning, winning 25-6 in a match that he put forth minimal effort. And now here he is winning even more easily.
19, serving 2.
And this is a huge match, Dave, for Luis Cordova in the standings. As Luis Cordova inching his way towards Seattle, this loss, Dave, could put a serious bump in the road of Luis Cordova's quest to the Players' Championship at the WAC, the Washington Athletic Club in Seattle, Washington.
Short.
Luis Cordova coming off
Second
a
serve.
6th place finish in Tucson. That garnered him 3.5 ranking points, Dave. The way we have it calculated, a player would need about 16 ranking points from the race to guarantee
serving
themselves
20.
a spot in Seattle. Just a terrible looking swing there from Luis. And Luis now, Dave, just so deflated, he's not even making the retrieves that we normally see him make.
20, serving 2.
Score here 20-2 as Anton Wilson is cruising in this qualifier. It looked like it could be a screen just by the way that Cordova acted from this camera angle.
Point.
Well, everybody has bad days, Dave, and this is Cordova's bad day.
21, serving 2.
I'm one of those guys, Dave, that believes that your opponent
Gives you the bad day. You're
creates
right.
those bad days.
I don't disagree with you.
I just don't know if Luis Cordova's ever seen this kind of pressure
Point.
and this kind of two-handed power executed with such ease as Anton Wilson does. He's really
22, serving 2.
Well, it's like Luis Moreno. It's very smooth.
Point.
He's always been like that, though.
23, serving 2.
This is unbelievable. Anton Wilson taking down Luis Cordova. He's at 23-2, and I believe the cart is before the horse right now.
I actually compare Anton Wilson more to a buzzsaw McCarthy,
Okay.
who's got that effortless power.
Is that some of that effortless power right there?
I would say so, but let's not forget Luis Cordova putting the ball in a tee for Anton Wilson repeatedly
24,
here.
possible game point, serving 2.
And there it is.
that'll do it.
Anton Wilson takes down Luis Cordova. Luis is exiting the court rather quickly, too. Anton Wilson back qualifying again after 8 years of being on the Pro Tour. He took some time off, and we're going to get him in the booth as we take a look at this replay brought to you by Owen Gloves. Look at that ball just jump off the front wall. Anton Wilson taking down Luis Cordova 25-2 here in Fresno, California for the Frank Zenega bracket. It's the qualifier bracket number 2 as we have another great match coming up right around the corner featuring Emmett Peixoto and Dan Armijo. Emmett Peixoto, who found himself in the losers bracket at the Nationals this year, said he's not going to allow that to happen this time around. Dan Armijo has played in 30 pro USHA national championships, and he has been on the Pro Tour for 30 years, now 50 years of age, and he's going to go up against Emmett Peixoto coming up right around the corner. But before we talk about Emmett, let's talk about Anton Wilson. Dave dismantled Luis Cordova. Luis has been on this Pro Tour now, going to every one of the qualifier series that we've set up. In Idaho, he was there at the U.S. Open. He comes over to Tucson. Now he's in Fresno. He's really committed himself to this pro season, and he had a great tournament in Tucson, Arizona recently when he took Nate Alvarado to a tiebreaker. Ends up losing that, but then as he goes into the 5th through 8th place matches, he defeated Andy Nett, and that was a great win. He actually had a really good tournament.
Well, this is all part of the learning process and all part of taking your lumps in the pro game. There's great players out there, Dave. If you catch one of those great players on one of their great days and you're a little bit off, you end up on the wrong side of a 25-2 scoreline. We hope that Luis Cordova doesn't become too frustrated because everyone's gone through this. He's only 20 years old. He's had a great season thus far, Dave. He's qualified in Idaho, also qualified in Tucson. So he's played extremely well. Let's not forget that he and his brother beat Dave Chapman and Sean Lenning in doubles in Las Vegas. So it's been a season with a lot of positives today. Obviously not one of them, but we'll see if Luis Cordova can regroup, come back for the next stop in Atlanta, which will be in just 3 weeks.
Now in that first bracket that we had earlier today, it was Carlos Chavez over George Garcia. He's 35 years of age, and now we have a 35-year-old Anton Wilson taking down the 20-year-old Luis Cordova in that second qualifier bracket. Now I know it's you know, taking your lumps sometimes is what happens on these pro tours. Very unpredictable, especially when you go into an environment like Fresno where this is the home court for Anton Wilson. He plays on this show court, and there is something to say about that. I know you feel more comfortable at your home court. He obviously does as well, and having that crowd support is nice. We heard him exit the court just a few seconds ago, and the crowd gave him a standing ovation. He said he would be in our booth in a matter of seconds, and he's making his way to us right now. So we will have a word with Anton Wilson, who hopefully will get into this booth here in just a few seconds as he is shaking babies and kissing hands on his way to the broadcast booth. Anton Wilson, 35 years of age, 8 years it's been since he qualified or was featured on the Pro Tour, and now he's featured here in Fresno, California for the Simple Green Race 4-8. Anton Wilson taking down young Luis Cordova, not just in a close match, but one that showed Anton getting 25 points first to young Luis's only 3, as they're telling me is the official score line. As we now put Anton into the booth over here. Anton's making his way in. And tell me a little bit about how you prepared. First of all, congratulations on your win. Anton Wilson stepping into the booth with us here. Tell us about that win. How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel really good. I told myself I wanted to come play hard, win or lose, give it one more shot. Haven't been playing a whole lot. It was good. Feel good. It was a pleasure playing Luis. I walked in and there's a lot of new faces that I hadn't seen before. It was a pleasure to get in there with Luis. Excellent player.
How is it for you, Anton, coming here? As you said, these are new faces. You're taking on a guy that you probably haven't seen too much of, but this is a guy that finished 6th in our last pro stop, and you come out here and just take him to the woodshed, 25-2.
You know, again, Luis, my serve was on. I was hoping to get in. I knew I wouldn't be able to run with him. I got in there, went for some hard serves. They were working, some of them coming around, but they were effective. So I was able to put the ball down and keep it down, which is key against somebody like Luis. He gets everything. So everything just went for me today. You know, it was luck was on my side. I just came out with the win. I'm happy to come out with the win.
Let's talk about you. You said that you came down and worked out just a little bit preparing for this event. You've always been a great handball player. You've got really smooth hands, but we've seen you your physical fitness fluctuate over the years. At some points, you seem to be back in that pro player shape, and at other times, it looks like you've given a couple months off. Now you look like you're really lean and mean. What did you do different here?
You know, honestly, I haven't did anything. I do the same thing, daily routines, and I guess it's just work. Work keeps me in shape. I don't know. Everybody asks, you know, are you losing weight? I don't feel any different. Maybe I am. I'm not sure.
Well, you look good to me, and I was just watching you in there. You know, there's a lot of physical preparation that you have for a match, you know, but your mind looks really sharp. Like you still have that pro mentality. I saw you resetting the action, going up to the ceiling multiple times with Luis, pushing him over to his left. It's almost like you read the scouting report.
No, you know,
that's not something a guy does just by going to work.
Yeah. Again, I knew Luis. You know, I've heard. I haven't seen him play, but I heard good things about him, and I didn't want to rally. Sometimes when it was low and hard, I had to take it up, and those are just old tricks that I learned, you know, when I was his age coming in, you know, and I wanted to pound, and until I learned how to do other things, you know. It's Chapman, you know, perfect example of a good ceiling player. And yeah, I tried to change the momentum because I know he likes it low, and it worked out for me.
Well, in the next round, you have some KG veterans that you have played back in the old days. Tommy Little, you could be polling his name. You could be polling Dave Fink's name as we do the blind draw later this evening. Armando Ortiz, who you play here locally on and off. And then a guy you probably have never played, Charlie Shanks from Ireland.
No, I heard a lot about Charlie. You know, when I was playing, Charlie was coming up as a junior, and I'm looking forward. You know, I'm honored to be here and play with these guys again, and I'm just looking forward to it tomorrow.
We're very honored to have you in the booth, and we are also honored to say congratulations on qualifying. Anton Wilson taking down Luis Cordova. Is there anything you want to say before you exit?
Just thanks for having the tournament here. You guys are doing a great job keeping handball alive. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anton Wilson taking down Luis Cordova here, 25-2. in the Frank Zanega bracket of this qualifier at the Race for 8 in Fresno, California. Dave, just to wrap up really quickly here, what you just saw, the dismantling of Luis Cordova from KG veteran, now 35-year-old Anton Wilson.
Well, Anton looked really good, and as he said, everything fell off that serve. He got the serve going, he had Luis frustrated, and as he built that lead, Luis Cordova really had no answers, and it was Anton Wilson in a runaway, an avalanche, really. And it'll be exciting to see not only how Anton's body reacts after 2 tournament matches today, Dave, but how he matches up tomorrow against the guys that you mentioned, me being one of them. He'll draw one of those 4 guys, and whoever he plays, Dave, it's going to be the highlight of the morning session.
Well, especially if this crowd comes back again to watch him play in that round, and I know they will. The next one coming up right around the corner is going to be Emmett Peixoto versus Dan Armijo. We're going to talk about that matchup in just a few minutes, about 5 minutes away from kickoff for that one. You stick around, we'll have more action right around the corner. In fact, they now telling me 11-minute start time for Emmett Peixoto and Dan Armijo right around the corner. You stick around, more play-by-play and more action for the Race for 8, sponsored by Simple Green here in Fresno, California. For Dave Fink, Linda Manning, and Chris Grad, my name is Dave Vincent. We'll be back in just a bit at racefor8.com. Stick with us.
My name is Bruce Fabrizio. In 1975, I invented Simple Green based on 3 principles. It had to be safer to use, it had to work, and it had to be completely made in America. From generation to generation, Simple Green has been cleaning everything from car engines and tools to kitchen counters and floors. No matter what you clean, indoors or outdoors, clean it with non-toxic, biodegradable Simple Green.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
For 20 years, the Inner City Handball Association has educated, mentored, and served young people through handball. Young people that participate in the Inner City Handball Association programs have a high graduation rate from high school and continue on to college. Inner City Handball teams are good athletes, good students, and good ambassadors for the sport of handball. We need your help to continue our work. Inner City Handball Association is a registered 501c3 tax-exempt charity. Please donate today. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green. Our non-toxic, biodegradable, all-purpose cleaner works great for cleaning it. Thank you. Non-toxic, biodegradable, Simple Green. It's great for cleaning.